Rustus and Annice and Rustus' Special Quest, Part 5. So Rustus was being chased by a bunch of piranha frogs. There were now hundreds and hundreds of piranha frogs saying, "Rah, ribbit," just so hungry for a bite of buffalo. And Rustus was running with all of his strength, trying to get away. But he felt like the faster he ran, the closer the piranha frogs got to him, and he didn't know what to do. And then, all of a sudden, he remembered the things he had in his backpack. He had a rotator, and he had apotheca, two things that would help him greatly. So while he was running, he pulled his backpack off, he opened it up, and he looked inside and grabbed the rotator, and he took a small bite. And all of a sudden, he was full of energy, and he started running and running and running so fast, he was running as fast as Dash from The Incredibles. And the piranha frogs got further and further behind. When he felt like he had a good distance between him and the piranha frogs, he stopped, and he made a pile of sticks, and he got some flint and steel that he had brought with him in his backpack, and he struck them together until they made a spark, and the spark turned into a fire on this pile of sticks. And he used that fire to boil juice from the apotheca, which makes it especially potent, which means especially powerful. And then he left the bowl of boiled apotheca juice there off the fire so it could cool, and he ran a few feet away. And he could hear the piranha frogs getting closer and closer. Rah, ribbit, rah, ribbit, rah, ribbit. But he wanted to get away as quick as he could. He heard them get closer, but he knew that he was safe because his plan would work. So he watched as they came into the clearing where he was, and they started to come closer to the pot, and then they started drinking. All of the piranha frogs, one by one, drank the apotheca juice, and as soon as they did, they all fell asleep. There were now hundreds and hundreds of piranha frogs asleep just a few feet away from him, and there was still some boiled apotheca juice left in the bowl. So he quietly crept up and grabbed the bowl and poured the leftover juice into a bottle so that he could have it later if he needed it. And then he used his energy that he still had from the rotator to run as fast as he could. And he ran and he ran and he ran. And he ran away from the swamp, which was called Yaya Swamp, which is where the piranha frogs lived, which was next to the grove of apotheca trees on the far edge of Stenor Abyss. And he ran and he ran and he ran. And once he exited the swamp, on one side of him, he saw a desert with a big mountain in the distance. And he thought, that would be fun to go to, but I think I should go the other way. I think it's time for me to start heading home. So he turned in the other direction, which was west, and he saw some sand dunes, and he headed towards the sand dunes. Do you know what a sand dune is? A sand dune is like a big pile of sand, kind of like a little hill, but it's all made out of sand. So there were a bunch of sand dunes, and he headed towards them. And when he got to the edge of the sand dunes, he thought he was probably safe from the piranha frogs even when they woke up. So he wanted to sleep, but he still had lots and lots of energy from the rotator that he had eaten. So he decided to write down everything that had happened to him. And he took out his notebook, which he was now calling his journal, and he wrote down all about the piranha frogs in Yaya Swamp and how the rotator and the apotheca juice had saved him. And he drew a map of where he had gone, and he drew a picture of the piranha frogs, and he drew a picture of the desert with the mountain in the background that he had turned away from, and he drew a picture of the dunes where he now was. And he still felt lots of energy, so he decided that he needed to sleep. So he took out the apotheca juice, and he took a little sip, and he fell asleep. And when he fell asleep, he had a strange dream. He dreamed that he was swimming in the water, but the water was purple, and all around him were jellyfish, and the jellyfish were made out of real strawberry jelly. It was such a strange dream that when he woke up, he felt a little disconcerted. Do you know what disconcerted means? It means he felt a little weird and strange, and like he wasn't in the right place. He had to get used to it again. And so, after that dream, he started walking through the sand dunes. But as he walked, he thought it was strange, because the sand in the sand dunes was now purple. And as he looked around him, he saw jellyfish in the air. And these jellyfish smelled like strawberry jelly. And he thought, what's going on? My dream is coming real? This is so scary. His dream wasn't that scary in and of itself, but because it was so different and strange, that's what made it scary. And he didn't know what to do, because he was surrounded by jellyfish, and he was afraid that if he touched them, he might get stung, because jellyfish can sting you. And he was so afraid of the purple sand maybe having some sort of weird chemical or something that would make him sick that he didn't even want to walk further. So he just ended up standing in one place, shivering with fright, because you'll remember that he was a scaredy cow. And he had gotten a lot braver during this journey, having seen all the things he had seen, but this was still something scary for him. But as he was standing there, he heard a voice saying, "What's going on over there?" And that's the end of our story.